I've just resent the link to Anne.
Nice tie, Graham. Thanks for a close-up.
I'm just turning the volume down, Peter. Could have been worse.
Just resent it to Anne's Gmail, but she's still having trouble.
Okay, shall we? Well. Can we start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm going to start tonight's meeting with a short statement. Hilton Parish Council express their deep condolences to Her Majesty the Queen, members of the royal family and the extended members of the royal household on the death of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. He dedicated his life to serving the nation and in particular supporting the Queen since her accession in 1952. Given current COVID restrictions, the public will hopefully understand that the council is not able to do everything that it might have wished. And one of these changes is the fact that we now have an online book of condolences. We will start tonight's meeting with a period of silence to reflect on that service and support. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good evening. Tonight, yes, the 12th of April, Hilton Parish Council meeting. Item number 1, this is 202, the usual order of items. This is to receive any apologies for absence and declarations of interest. Nicola, do we have any apologies?
Apologies from both Ian Stott and Ian Bates.
Okay, thank you very much. Any of the councillors wish to declare any interests on the items to be discussed tonight? Quick look round. No? Okay, thank you very much. It's this point I can close the meeting and open it to members of the public to comment on any items on the agenda. Any members of the public wish to speak? Andy?
Yeah, just a quickie. I'm guessing items 224 to 228 or 9 will be in closed session.
This is on the overtime and things. Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's worth, if you could rejig the agenda slightly to make that the last item.
Okay. Well, I'll
and then
put
put councillors' items above it.
Yeah. I'll put that to councillors later on, and so they can bear that in mind. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Andy, Andrew, you shook your heads. That's fine. Okay. So I'll close the meeting again and go into closed session. Item 203 is to approve the minutes of the various parish council meetings. 1st of March, planning meeting held on the 23rd of March, staffing committee held on the 16th of March, and the minutes of the finance meeting that was held last week on the 6th of April. So taking those in order, 1st of March, you've seen those in draft form in your supporting documents. Are we all happy with those? Can I propose that I sign them in due course? I'm going to propose. Can I have a second, please? No one second. Oh yes, Heather seconding. All in favour? Show of hands. Oh, we've lost. Okay, Nicola, you okay with that?
Sorry, Rob, are you
Was I there?
Don't think you were.
No, that's what I thought, so I therefore can't.
okay?
Okay. So yeah, against and then abstentions. Yeah, okay. So you're going to have to abstain, aren't you? Okay. Moving on, the minutes of the planning committee held on the 23rd of March. Which one of us? Hang on, I'll just dip into the supporting docs and see who was there. Minutes of the planning meeting.
Yourself, Peter, Rob, Kieran and Anne.
Okay, thank you very much. And this was 6 Church End with the rear extension and the new porch. So you've all seen that. Are you happy? Can I propose that we sign those? Yeah. Okay. Have a second of that, please. Peter, you're nodding, can't you? Thank you. Okay. All those in favour? Who was there? I think. Yeah. Sharon wasn't there, so just the 4 of us. I think. The rest of you will be abstentions, I'm gathering. Thank you very much. Right. Okay. And then the next one is the staffing committee held on Tuesday, 16th of March. Again, we need to just be sure who was there. Minutes.
Yourself, Rob, Kieran and Anne.
Okay. So are the 4 of us happy that they are a true record of the staffing committee meeting? Yep. No problems. Okay. So I propose that I sign those. Can I have a seconder, please? Yep. Rob, second. Okay. All in favour? Show of hands. And obviously Anne's not here, so we'll have to. This is 3. That's okay, isn't it, Nicola?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess the rest will be abstentions. Thank you very much. And finally, minutes of the finance committee meeting held on the 6th of April. That was quite recent, and I can remember who was there on that one. We're all here apart from Ian. So I'm going to propose that we sign those if you're happy, if the other 2 of you are happy. Can I have a seconder, please? Yeah, Peter seconding. Kieran, are you happy to? Yeah, you are. Okay. And again, abstentions from the rest of you. Thank you very much. Okay, item 204, matters arising from the last meeting. This is the clerk's report with various updates on various things that have happened over the last month. Nicola, thank you.
Checking for Anne. So the Rural Community Energy Fund pre-application questionnaire has been sent to the local energy hub, and I'm awaiting a response for that from that. The street lamp PC26, which is the one near the pavilion, which is the one which is both leaning and slightly wobbly. The remedial work to this lamppost has been authorised using the Clerk Chair Authority and will cost £120 plus VAT. It is on the K&M lighting programme of works, and according to what they told me at the beginning of last week, should now be completed. I haven't followed up on that. The council tax bills that recently came out, you may have noticed that whilst the Parish Council have resolved to keep the precept amount the same at £30,600, the tax base has actually reduced from 455 properties to 450. So this actually equates to a 1.1% increase in the amount paid by homeowners. The tax base is calculated by looking at the equivalent number of Band D properties in the parish, adding the number of houses due to be built and taking away those properties in receipt of council tax support or single person supplement. In the case of Hilton, the tax base has been reduced due to the increase in properties in receipt of council tax support. I've still got 2 councillors with outstanding items, so could those councillors who have not yet submitted their DPI forms or their photo bio for the website, please do so as soon as possible. I'm sure you'll all have noticed the Easter cross went up on the green last weekend, and permission for that was granted by the clerk under the scheme of delegation. The heavy rainfall reports that was discussed at the last council meeting has been published on the website, and a post linking to it has been put on Facebook. And Wicksteed have been appointed to carry out the inspection on the playground and hope to do so in early May. The changes to the clerk's contract have been drafted and just await the confirmation regarding pensions, which is on this agenda before it can be signed. We've received notice that the A428 development consent order has been submitted and accepted for examination, and the next community forum meeting has been set as Wednesday the 28th of April. I've received a communication regarding the A14 Parish Legacy Fund. So the officer that leading this project has left Harrods, England. She's actually gone to Saudi Arabia, quite excitingly, but she's advised that they're looking at the works that we've asked them to do around the ponds, and they have found with their preliminary reviews that the cost could be more than what they've set aside, which is 50 grand. So they'll be unable to add to that pot. So I'm waiting for the newly appointed officers to come back to me with options for the Parish Council to consider. And obviously once I receive those options, they will go on the agenda for the Parish Council to discuss. The Optimum prepaid MasterCard has now been closed, and the Equals card is up and running and working well. The Councillor Ian Stott organised remote working ivy cutting, where he assigned different areas to volunteers to ensure that there was social distancing. A thank you message has been sent to the volunteers that took part. And as Graham previously mentioned, due to the current national guidelines, the council will not be providing a physical book of condolence. Instead, an online book of condolence is now available on the Parish Council website, and I've put notices up on the notice board to this effect. And I've also advised parishioners on these notices that if they are unable to use the online book of condolence, that they can contact me and I will make an entry on their behalf. Also, in accordance with the wishes of the Duke of Edinburgh, the laying of flowers is discouraged, and any parishioner who wish to do something are encouraged to make a donation to charity instead.
Right. Thank you very much. So I shouldn't discuss it. It was good to see that the A14 Parish Legacy Fund is still there, because with the previous head going off, there was a danger that we lost our contact there. So that's encouraging news. Right, moving on to item 205. This is reports back effectively from the Finance Committee. Peter, can I sort of throw this at you, because obviously as the chair of that committee, and you can't hide from your previous history. Can you sort of talk us through it with the RFO as necessary?
Yes,
Thank you.
love to. So the Finance Committee met and we reviewed the accounts for the year to date, which had just finished, hadn't it? And I've got all these documents open. It's just finding them, isn't it? Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I'll be with you in a minute. It's on.
I've been there. I know it's.
There's too many documents open. It's on this one. Come on. All right. Whilst we find the finances, we have got the fact that during this last year, to the year end, we didn't spend as much as was budgeted, but there are some carryover figures for tree work. And of course, there was there was also an overspend in the previous year. So it might take to the end of this current financial year for the overspend in the previous year on the playground, the unspend this year, but then the tree work coming in just to unwind. And I think what we'll find is that it's a balanced budget over the last 3 years. When it comes out, it will be balanced over the last 3 years, and we have had the benefit of a refund of the some of the lighting money from Cambridge County Council. Yep. We looked at provisions, and I think we want to make an additional provision, don't we, Nicola, for this coming year?
Yes, that's in your next agenda item if you agree your earmarked reserves.
Oh, okay. So as the Finance Committee, we were happy to receive the figures presented by the RFO for the year end, and there's little bits and pieces of audit going on that will allow Nicola to present all the information to the internal auditor, who will then hopefully sign that off by the time of our next meeting, so that Nicola can present it to our external auditor, and we'll have a signed off set of accounts again. Any questions? That's all.
I was just going to ask Nicola, which do all those 3 items need to be approved by full council? Oh.
The 3 sets, the management accounts, budget
Yeah,
analysis and financial accounts.
No, I'm talking about the financial reports, estimated sort of earmarked reserves, and the asset management plan. You've got 3 separate.
I would do them as 3 separate resolutions. That's why there's 3 separate agenda items.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Heather, your hand's up.
Yes, I just want a question about the earmarked reserves.
We haven't discussed that yet.
Oh.
It's the next thing on the agenda.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said
That's
that.
right. No, I was corrected, Heather.
Okay.
It was
When
the
you've
next
done it,
thing on
I'll
the
come
agenda.
back.
So now I've corrected you as well, you see.
Great.
Would you like to receive the financial reports?
Yeah, so the proposal is that we receive the financial reports and thank Nicola for the hard work she's done over the year to get these in a position where they can be presented to the internal auditor.
Second that one.
All those in favour? Thank you. And thank you, Nicola, because that was great, having them so quickly on the 6th of April. Right, the next item agenda, you'll be pleased to know, is to agree the levels of earmarked reserves. Now, this is... Right, let's have Heather's question first.
Well, you might answer it in your presentation.
Who knows? Go on, ask your question.
So my question is, well, there's 2 questions. The NMU feasibility study has £500 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not quite sure why, because I thought we'd done the NMU feasibility. So what is that for? Mm-hmm. And then my other question is about the street lighting replacement, where we've got £1,800 in there. I know we've spent 240, but I'm just wondering why we're putting another 300 in, because the 1,800 would seem to be sufficient for the year.
So we've got 21, 22 streetlights, possibly more.
29, according
29. So the parish council is responsible for 29 of the streetlights around the village. And to replace a streetlight can be a lot more than we've paid already, I believe. I've seen quotes in the past of £1,000 to replace a street light. So I think the prudent council earmarks money each year in case they all collapse in one year and we get faced with a bill of a huge amount. Because I think in the years that we've been, since I came onto the parish council in 2013, we've had continual needs each year for streetlight spending, but it hasn't been more than one a year, and I think it could. There is a great possibility there could be more than one a year. When we come on, no, I'm not going to say that because that's the next agenda item. So that's that. And the NMU 500 quid, it's not spent yet, I don't think, is it? The feasibility study money hasn't been spent. The feasibility study's been done, but the money hasn't been called for. That's why that's still there, Heather.
Oh, right, thank you.
And that's why I think in the reserves there's also £9,500.
That's in your restricted funds, not your earmarked reserves.
Yeah, sorry, restricted funds. Because it hasn't been called for yet. So is that okay?
Yes, I'm just wondering when the street lighting gets to 2,000, would we stop adding money into it if we haven't spent it?
That I would think could be reviewed after we do what we're possibly talking about doing in the next item.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay. So yeah, the earmark reserves will go, hopefully will go along the fact that we put money aside each year to allow, because when I look in there, so there's bridge maintenance and there's street lighting and playground maintenance, so that we've got something there, because if everything went wrong in a year, we wouldn't have enough money, would we, somehow? But what we can't do as a parish council is just keep adding and adding and adding to reserves and not spending them, because the external auditor will ask us why our reserves are so high eventually, as they have done quite a few years ago. Is that right, Graham?
It's more to do with Ian than me, but yes.
There was a time, a long time ago.
Yes.
Okay, so any other questions on earmarked reserves, ladies and gentlemen? In that case, I propose that the levels of earmarked, was that hands up, Sharon? Sorry. Sorry. So I propose that we accept the levels of and agree the levels of earmarked reserves.
I'll second that. I'm happy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And all in favour? That's a clean sweep.
Yeah.
Right. The next item on the agenda is to review and adopt the asset management plan. So I've got a second part to this. So I'm going to ask Nicola to explain to you what the asset management plan part is, if that's all right, Nicola.
Mm-hmm. So the concept of the asset management plan is fairly self-explanatory. Hilton Parish Council does have a lot of assets, a lot of which do get overlooked, things like the War Memorial in the Lichgate, or the benches, the bridges, the street lighting, the bus shelter, the notice boards, all of which the Parish Council is responsible for maintaining. So what you should have is some kind of protocol in place that says how you will account for those assets, how you manage your asset register, but also how you will inspect and maintain those assets. So that's what this plan is then starting to address, is the maintenance regime, inspection and maintenance regime that then you're going to put in place to support the plan.
The wrong sort of snow fell the other day, and it prevented Graham and I doing a little walk we were going to do around the village, inspecting all the assets that are listed on the asset register. So we're going to get that addressed over the next, well, before the next parish council meeting, won't we? We'll get it done. And the idea there was then to look at all the street lights that are on our register, for example, and see what state of repair they are in. And one part, which is item 216, is obviously being attended to because Graham's done a survey of the fences around, but we need to look at the bridges, we need to look at that, we need to look and then present the parish council a plan of what we think could, the finance committee this is, what the parish council should be doing about those things, and maybe a bit more of a timescale on things when things might need to be addressed. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
So that's what the asset management plan is intended to do. It's to perhaps put more of a finger on the pulse of what we've got and what will need to be done, and how urgent we might think it is to be presented to council, obviously. So at the moment, what do we got to do, Nicola, on this one? Review and adopt the asset management.
Adopt, yeah.
Yes, adopt. So is everybody happy with said document?
Yeah, as a start.
Yeah, okay, then I propose that council adopt it and look forward with bated breath to a further report from the Finance Committee about how the assets are. But we don't put that in the proposal, do we? The proposal is to adopt the asset management plan.
Okay, I'll second that.
And all those in favour? That's everybody. Thank you very much. And there we are. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now moving on to 206. This is a review of new policies. Grant award policy was presented at last meeting and was sent back for a bit more tweaking to make it a bit more user friendly, and the form enclosed. This was in supporting documents in draft form. Are we all happy with it? Yeah.
Very good, thank you. Whoever amended it, thank you.
It was a team effort. That's great. Okay, so I propose that we adopt that as our policy for grant awarding. Can I have a second, please, for that motion? Yeah, Heather's seconding it. All in favour? Show of hands. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. And then a couple that we hadn't got was the expenses policy and the sickness absence policy. This came up during staffing committee discussions. So number one is expenses policy. Are we all happy with that? Oh, Heather's seconding or not happy?
No,
Not happy.
no. I'm not happy with the councillor expenses bit. I was in email communication with Nicola earlier on today, and I understand expenses have to be approved in advance. But if you are going on a course, this suggests that you need to have council's approval before you can claim your expenses. And sometimes the time frame doesn't match. And I looked at another council's policy, and that says that councillors are entitled to apply to claim expenses when supported by receipts for travelling and associated expenses on journeys on council business. And that would seem to me to cover that, and therefore we don't have to use special approval for getting them approved between meetings. I think it's a better wording than we've got.
There's a potential that could lead us in sort of yeah, we don't know what expenses are coming before we suddenly get presented with them.
Well, it's on a course that the council would recommend councillors to attend. It's on another council's policy anyway. I took it from their website.
Anybody else wish to comment on that? So previously, expenses policy has been pretty light. This is obviously polishing up on that one.
I guess potentially to satisfy Heather's point, the chair could authorise some expenses if the duration between the next meeting was a long time, because it'll be within their approval limit. I would have thought. Yeah.
I just think that if you're going on a course, then the expenses would automatically be approved alongside the application for the course, rather than doing two separate things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As I said in the email previously, we've done that in one resolution. So it's approval to attend a training course at the cost of X pounds, and the expenses of the mileage to travel there at the cost of estimated at Y and will not exceed Z. Which
would be fine.
And would that be
covered what's on the policy?
So therefore your expenses would be approved, pre-approved if you like, at the point where your training course is also approved.
Is that specified in the policies? I mean, is that written clearly enough? Would we get away with that, or do we need to put an extra line to clarify that it's an expectation that the expenses would be required for instance, a training course? Okay.
The policy simply says that all expenses have to be pre-approved by the council, or just approved by the council, made with the mandate and prior approval of the council. The danger, I think, with the approach of saying that all mileage that's done on council business will be reimbursed at the normal HMRC rate is how you define council business. Yeah. So if you were going to go and visit Untitled Parish Council, for instance, to view their meeting, so that you get experience as a councillor, is that council business, and are you entitled to claim the mileage?
Yeah.
But if that expenses claim then just lands on the desk to say, I've done this on behalf of the council, I'd like to claim the mileage.
Personal development, that's not council development,
Yes.
is it?
No.
I would suggest.
But that's why it's written in the policy, that it's with the mandate and prior approval of the council, that the council is then controlling its funds.
I'm
I just
happy with the
wondered if
wording in the
could be
proposed
reworded
policy.
so it fits the purpose of what we're trying to do, rather than have a policy that we know we're not going to adhere to.
What do others think? I mean, obviously the policy's there. I mean, I'm happy to accept it in its current form. And if it's not working, we can obviously tweak it. Others are obviously quite quiet. Are you sort of not too sure either way? Happy with it, or?
No, I'm happy with the wording.
I
You've
think
got to get approval.
the wording as it stands at the moment is very safe, in that it can't be abused. But I do have a bit of sympathy with Heather's point. I think we must make sure it's too bureaucratic. I think for the fact that very few expenses are actually claimed, we're talking about a moot point, really, aren't we? So probably best stick to the safe wording, I would have thought.
Yeah. And then if it becomes a problem, if people feel that they're being restricted, then we can obviously tweak it later on. But I'm going to propose that we accept it in its current form. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Peter's okay with that. All in favour? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And against? That's Heather against, and we've got no abstentions. So we're 7. So 6-1. Thank you very much. Okay. That's expenses policy. Now sickness absence policy, again as a result of the staffing conversations. Are we all happy with that policy? Good. Okay, so I'm going to propose that that's accepted as our policy in its draft form. We'll finalise that. Can I have a seconder for that proposal, please? Heather seconding it. Thank you much. All in favour? Show of hands. Presumably everybody, because fine. Okay, 7. Thank you very much. Okay. And then finally on this section we had the Finance Committee terms of reference. Previously it was a Finance and General Purposes Committee. It's now been shortened to just the Finance Committee, and therefore there's some new terms of reference there. I would imagine they're okay. Anybody got any issues with them? No? Okay, let's accept those then as the terms of reference. Kind of a seconder for that. I'm proposing we accept them. Kind of a seconder for that, please. Peter seconding. All in favour? For a show of hands. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, that's good. Right, item 207. There is a new code of conduct that's been issued from 2020. Now, it's 17 pages long, so I'm not too sure how much you studied it, but we do already have an existing code of conduct. This is a newer version, and the discussion is to decide whether we accept that code of conduct. Anybody got any issues? I mean, one of the points I think we need to bear in mind is that we've generally in the past sort of kept up to date with recommendations from SLCC and CAPALC, etc. So we know where we're standing. But Peter, your thumbs up, is it?
No, it's my finger actually. Yeah, we have a code of conduct which was adopted from Huntingdon District Council. So this was the code of conduct they use, and they suggested that the Parish Council use it, and they supplied the training for it at no cost, if I recall. So before we adopted a new code of conduct, my request would be that we go to the monitoring officer at Huntingdon District Council, because they haven't changed their code of conduct yet. They still have the same code of conduct in place as they have that we have adopted. And we ask them if they are going to change their code of conduct, and if they are, whether they are the monitoring officer will be providing training as they did back in 2013/14.
We were in the village hall, weren't we?
Yeah, we were indeed.
I actually quite like that, because as I understand it, there's no particular hurry, and if they're going to adopt it, then they may well want to give us some training rather than potentially £150 or £200 that we might be paying, or even more than that, 369.994. Yeah. Other people got any thoughts on the code of conduct? Model code of conduct? No? Okay. Well, then I'm kind of with you, Peter. Your proposal will be that we don't adopt the new one, that we for the time being, we stick with our existing policy, pending information from HDC.
Yeah.
Is that effectively what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Nicola. More work, but the monitoring officer will tell us, won't they?
Well, I mean, presumably part of the proposal could be that, that we contact HDC to see if they have any intention of updating their code of conduct.
Mm.
Okay, so do you want to propose that, or is that enough proposal?
Oh yeah, I'm happy to propose that if you like.
Mm-hmm.
I propose that for this agenda item, that we ask the clerk to contact the monitoring officer at Huntingdon District Council and ask whether they are changing, if they have intentions of changing their model code of conduct, and if they are they consider, and also are they then considering providing training to parish councils as they have done in the past.
Yeah, and therefore for the time being we'll stick with the existing policy. Yeah, okay, well I'm happy to second that. Nicola, are you okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Got it.
that's spiel. Okay, I'm seconding it. All
those in favour?
That's 7. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Now we then obviously come on to 207.2, which presumably is null and void. Would we have to have a motion that we ignore this, or is that just?
No, I will just minute there was no resolution to this item as it was superseded by the previous resolution.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you much. Right, now item 208 is to receive an update regarding the situation. A lot of regardings there, aren't there? Regarding a remote meeting and call for evidence.
Sorry.
This is to do with the fact that as of 7th of May, we are no longer allowed at the moment to meet remotely. And there's a court case or etc. going on to clarify things. The policies are effectively for councils ranging from smaller ones to ours to much bigger ones than ours, and it's trying to encompass all. So there's various bits and pieces in your supporting documents. In item, this is 208. I'll just nip into here. Remote meetings. Yeah, I mean, as far as I can see, the only, I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, the only action that the council should take or will be taking is to provide the evidence. And there is a potential survey that government are asking for comments from. I don't know whether anyone's got any other sort of thoughts here. This is the call for evidence, which is a how many questions are on there? There are there's quite a few pages. There's 11 questions as to how we feel that the remote meetings are going. And my suggestion would be that we would maybe a group, maybe, well, Nicola obviously she's been organising the virtual meetings. I would be happy to assist Nicola in that. I don't know whether anyone's got any strong feelings about virtual meetings, or whether you're desperate to get back to face-to-face. I don't know. What's your general feeling on the proposal?
Did I read in the documents that we've actually been instructed that we've got to go back to public meetings anyway after the 17th of May, was it?
7th. Yeah.
7th.
I mean, yes, that's yeah. We've been told that we have to go back to public meetings, which is.
So if we fill this for form in, we say we love our Zoom meetings, will that make any difference?
What it might do is bump it up the legislative calendar for Parliament to debate as to whether they introduce the legislation to allow councils to continue with either remote or hybrid meetings.
Okay. So is it realistic? Is it a good idea for us to try and work out as a council what we would like to do now? I mean, are we happy with these meetings, or we want a meeting public, or?
I love Zoom meetings, and I think they're actually more accessible for the general public to attend than meetings in person in a cold village hall for 6 months of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think considering the Zooms have taken off quite well, haven't they? I know they're not liked by all, but I mean, I feel that there's too many pages to go through tonight with the questions. It's general. It's just a question really of whether we feel that our input will be of any benefit to anybody, or if we are going to do it, what sort of response we would give. I mean, others. So, do you like your Zooms, or would you prefer to go back to? I mean, if COVID wasn't around, I think I'd be happy to go to a face-to-face meeting. It's only the restrictions that make it difficult. Sharon.
I think the Zoom meetings have been really good, and we have had parishioners join when they've wanted to. So I personally prefer doing a Zoom meeting because I think in the village hall, we get one or two, or at the most three parishioners attending. So it does seem this is a bit more efficient use of time and resources, really.
Okay, that's all the pros. Are there any antis to Zooms? I know Ian's not a supporter, but then he isn't here, so.
I think it would be nice to have a face-to-face meeting at some point. It's I quite like the Zoom meetings. So, but I think you probably need at least 2 face-to-face meetings a year. Just to, I don't know, I just think it's a very, very positive, healthy thing to do.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm just so disappointed that the government can't give us an extension till at least the 21st of June, in line with their coming out of lockdown policies. But that's far too political a statement to make.
It does seem quite true. But I mean, we're obviously aware of that, and therefore we are pushing our meetings such that we won't need to meet in public until after the 21st.
There is still hope in the ADO and LLG court case.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, as I say, the legislation that governs meetings wasn't written with remote meetings in mind.
No, from the 70s. Heather.
It's probably worth asking councillors who aren't here, because by virtue of not being here, it may mean they have different views.
Well, in some ways, it's much easier because I don't always attend meetings from this room. So in some ways, it's actually, you don't need to turn up at Village Hall. You can attend wherever you are. So yeah, okay. So what's the general feeling? I mean, I'm just not entirely sure how to fill out this questionnaire, or indeed whether it's worth doing it, because let's face it, we are only a small fish in a big sea.
I think we should do it. I think all feedback should. I think we should do it.
Yep.
I think personally, they've been good, and we should have the right to continue with them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the point. We need to have the right to do it. The option would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's based effectively. One of the questions I read is effectively it would be down to individual councils to decide when and how and often they do. Is that a general nodding? Okay. So Nicola, perhaps you and I, or does anyone else want to get involved? The two of us, based on what we've heard tonight. Are you happy that Nicola and myself fill in the questions and send them back? Yeah, we'll let you know. Okay, that's fine. So that's the proposal then. Can I have a second of that motion? Oh, everybody. Oh, Heather.
Yeah. There we go, everybody.
Okay. All in favour? Give us a show of hands. Kieran? Yeah. Brilliant. That's 7. Thank you very much. Good. Okay. So just deleting that one. And deleting that one. It's good when you delete something and what you want comes up behind. Right. Okay, to receive an update regarding the current LHI bid and decide upon any next steps. Now, you would have seen the very comprehensive spreadsheet that we were presented with, showing how Hilton was just off the mark. There are various. Well, the proposal was as to how much money we should put into the project to get ourselves above the line, but I read from the supporting documents that the comment from CCC is basically hold fire. Is that correct, Nicola? If you've spoken to them last time, because the 3 councils above us who may or may not get their bid may well be removed, and therefore we would go up the list.
Yeah, you've got 3 councils who have been asked to increase their contribution because their contribution wasn't sufficient. So if those councils are unable to increase their contribution, then they'll be removed and we'll move up the list.
Yeah. So the question is whether we set a maximum that I think this is correct, a maximum that we're prepared to put into the project, or whether we just sit tight and assume what's coming next. I'll just pop
I think we should put in the maximum we're prepared to go for, rather than sit tight.
Okay. Just, I mean, I don't know, but I put Peter on the spot here, but when we were talking about the NHI bid, were there any sort of clarifications of what would actually be achieved? Because is there always a chance that we put a lot of money in, it's approved, but then it goes to some kind of inspectorate?
Never discussed. Sorry, Graham. I don't know.
Okay.
This was purely about the presentation was purely about what we were after or what we were looking to achieve.
So,
and I totally agree with Kieran, and I'm sure there are others on there as well. We agreed that we would put £9,000 into this project. So let's tell them we'll put £9,000 into this project. Okay.
And the costing was about 11,000, wasn't it? Which presumably was just for signage and just for the public notices that need to go into press and things.
I guess so, yeah.
Heather's shaking her head.
No, there was 1,000 for putting things in the newspapers. There was 1,000 contingency. In any case, it was a very detailed breakdown of it all as to how it was going to be spent.
But there's still the risk that if it is challenged by anybody, it could go to a court case, and I'm not too sure where our money would be in that case. But that's maybe we have to put our money up to show our sincerity. I mean.
Well, despite what Cambridge County Council said that this hasn't been a long-term problem, it has been a long-term problem. And maybe if we put the money at it, it can actually get resolved. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to be careful about challenging those points, because some of those points were quite strange, weren't they? The scoring system, how we were so low down on that one, but I suppose getting above the line is our goal.
If the whole thing's going to cost 10,500, is it worth saying that we would go up to 10,500, or giving Nicola the option to go up to 10,500? We've already said we'll put 9,000 in.
9,000 was agreed and voted for, wasn't it? So that's a figure we've all previously discussed.
And they translated that as 50% and then took it down to below that, didn't they?
But I get the impression that we're not that far. We wouldn't need to put an awful lot more in to get above the line.
Exactly.
Do we know what the algorithm is? If we put £9,000 in, how far up that table it will take us?
We only have to put 1,500 in, 1,599, I think it is.
But if we
put further up the table, it will just move the dotted line. So it won't change your scoring matrix, because the parish council contribution is not supposed to affect the scoring matrix.
Okay.
It will just move the dotted line from above to below.
Is there any indication when we will get any feedback about where we stand, or the other three councils?
It's due to go to the May meeting of the Highways and Transport Committee.
We're meeting May the 4th, so we presumably can stall. Or do we need to?
No, they're meeting to about the 25th of May. So you won't be meeting again, theoretically, unless legislation changes or ADSO win, you won't be meeting again until July.
No, we're in May, aren't we? We're meeting May the 4th.
Yes, their meeting is not till the 25th of May.
Yes, I'm saying, so we don't need to decide now, do we, about our monies? Or would that go in?
Yeah.
No, we can put it back on the agenda for the May meeting.
Because I'm just thinking that the comment you got back from CCC was to hold fire, wasn't it? And she would update you. So it's a bit of cat and mouse. I'm just reluctant about showing our hand too much about, we're prepared to go to 9,000 if we don't need to.
We wrote on the documentation would go to 9,000, so they know that.
Yes.
So it's not hiding our hand by any chance. No, I think if we agreed that we would go up to 9,000, and then in May, if we know any more, we can make a decision then. But we know that they actually only want 1,599.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think the proposal is tonight that we don't need to do anything, because we have agreed that we would spend 9,000, and that the proposal is that Peter,
sorry, Mr. Chair. Surely we need to make a decision and give Nicola the authorisation to go back to Cambridge County Council and say Hilton Parish Council will contribute £9,000 to this project. Thank you very much.
I agree with that.
Okay, that's the proposal. Can I have a second for that, please? Oh, that's Heather. Oh, Kieran, you haven't said it. I'll take you as a second. All those in favour? Can we show of hands, please? Spend the council's money. Fine. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Peter.
Sorry, Graham. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
I was
But it doesn't need to come back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it can come back if it needs to, but
Yeah.
it's a way forward, certainly. Okay. Right. To receive an update from the NMU working group regarding the non-motorised users route. Now, would normally be from Anne, I imagine, but Rob and Heather, I mean, do you wish to add anything? It's just an update, isn't it? From what, other than what we've seen on the supporting docs?
It's a very clear summary of where we've got to, really.
Yeah. Okay. We're just waiting for the next stage, really, aren't we? So we're not required to do anything, are we?
Nicola, do you need anything from us?
No, we're the SIL fund, the SIL monies that you put the pre-application in for sounds like we would struggle without land ownership to get the SIL monies. But the response from the new officer appointed at Cambridge County Council sounds quite promising, that there is going to be work done on this prior to the next round of funding.
Yeah,
I think we'll just continue dialogue with him, and
as long as you don't mention his name, it could do with a few sort of full stops and paragraphs, couldn't it? Because it's quite a read, that one. But as you say, there are some hopeful bits about design and things and the way forward. So yeah, okay. So I would propose then that we accept that update. Is that right? We would receive that update. Can I have a seconder for that motion? Yeah, Heather, thank you much. All those happy to receive the update? Brilliant. That's all 7 of you. Thank you very much. Okay, now this is to receive an update regarding the library and the bus shelter and decide upon any steps. Now, following on from our last meeting, we have just going back there. It's amazing how this thing jumps around, isn't it? We have had the roof surveyed, and not surprisingly, it does have a degree of asbestos in there, but it's the least offensive type. And so the risk, as said by the outside surveyor, is that it's a low risk. So it really is a question of what we do next. There are various comments as to how we proceed to go forward, and there's also the offer from the church, which has come to us from the in-stock. It could go into the church. Does anyone have any comments or thoughts? Someone must have. Okay, well, are we happy to send it to the church then? Are we happy to abandon it? Which?
Church.
Church? I would think so, yeah. I mean, my only proviso there is that it's come from I'm not being mean to the councillor, it's come from a third party, so I would think we would need to have some kind of proviso that we are discussing with the church in case there's a misunderstanding. We need to clarify who's responsible for it and all those sort of bits and pieces that do need to be sorted out before the bookcase suddenly arrives. But I mean, based on that, I'm happy for it to go to the church. I think it would be a good place. Can I have a seconder that we do that action, that we enter into the discussions with the church to check they're happy to have to receive it? Peter, you seconding? I hope. Yep. Fine. Okay. All in favour? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Sharon, are you okay? That's fine. So that's 4. Okay. Against? Oh, Sharon, your hand. Are you 4 or against? I'm not sure. She's 4. I'm going to take it as 4. Okay, so that's 5 in favour.
5-4.
Against. Okay, abstaining. Okay, so that's 5-2. Thank you very much. Nicola, are you happy to start chatting to the church?
Yes, we'll do.
Yeah, and I say it's here, so I'm happy to assemble it and take it down there.
Graham, I did just note that they don't want it fixed to a wall. Can we just be assured that it's going to be safe and not fall on anybody?
Yeah, indeed. Yes. I'm not sure how we'll do that, but if they've got that's all part of the chat, isn't it? If they've got a location, there may even be a convenient hook or a beam that we can subtly attach it to without drilling holes. So Yeah, or maybe we even have to shorten it. If it's too tall and too dangerous, we'll have to, that could be part of our discussions. Okay, thank you very much. I should just ask, maybe the discussion should also involve Heather's team of volunteers, that they're happy to look after the books, because that presumably is all part of the library, isn't it? That we would want to, or we would offer to support the library books. Is that possible, Heather? Could you have a chat? Or
I can ask them. The original proposal was for them to do it on their walks, and I'll check.
yeah, okay, thank you very much. Just to, we don't want to sort of leave any bits that suddenly come to bite us. Okay, thank you much. Discuss and decide upon whether to use, now this is item 212, discuss and decide upon whether to use the current email distribution list to forward information from the Papworth Surgery Patient Link Committee. Now, you've all read this, and basically they would like us to email using our email base to, rather than sending stuff out by post or whatever, the patient link would like a few more contact details. I think that's fair to say. Now, personally, I think this is beyond what we got those email addresses for. And I wouldn't be happy to email that list on behalf of the Papworth committee. I would be very happy for it to go on the website as a, by the way, please be aware that the surgery patient link wants your email address, but I think it's beyond what we told our database people we would be doing with their information. Discuss.
I agree.
Totally agree.
Yeah, okay. So are we happy? So we would have to write back to the patient group and say that we well, I should get a show of hands, shouldn't I? So the proposal is that we do not email our database with that information. Can I have a second of that proposal, please? Yeah, that's Rob. Thank you very much. All in favour? Yeah. Sharon, sorry, that's 6.
I'm just going to abstain.
Okay, so that's 6-1. So 6 in favour and 1 abstention. That's fine. But I'll add a proviso on that. Are we happy to put it on the website that please get in touch with the patient link if you would like information emailed to you? Because we have been discussing it at a parish council meeting, so I think it would be within the terms. Heather.
Can we also ask the Papworth patients group if they can provide us with updates that we could post on our website or on Facebook or whatever, so we can disseminate their information? It's just we're unhappy about the email.
I think that's beyond. We don't normally do that, because otherwise our parish council website becomes a bit of a notice board, but I'm open to discussions on that. Anybody got any feelings on that one?
We did say that we wouldn't compete with other websites that are available.
I think it's a dissemination of information. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, I do post the newsletter on the village website.
Okay.
I'm sent it every month, I think it is. So
well, yeah, I mean, then our information on our website could say, please give your information to the patient link. And by the way, the newsletter is on the community website. I think that would tidy things up quite nicely. So that's my proposal. Nicola, is that waffly enough? Have you got the gist of that?
I might have abridged it slightly, but yes, I have it.
But as long as the context is there, thank you very much. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Yeah, Rob, thank you very much. All in favour? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 7. Thank you very much. Now, Ed, I'm hoping to get something that you want to get involved with soon, because you haven't said a thing yet. So the next one.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Good listening. What would you like me to talk about?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh.
Anything in particular?
You seem to be speeding along. I'm not too sure whether it's
No. I'm content. Very content.
Oh no, I've saved the one for you, the mole catcher. Now, can you give me your thoughts on a mole catcher, please? No, this is an item that's come up. Apparently, there's a consideration that maybe there are too many moles outside Sharon's house. She's obviously got a mole catcher and she sent them across the road. And the suggestion is that we should be doing something about them. The word mole catcher has been used, but I think we know what that really means. Anybody got any thoughts? There are various prices there for the mole catcher. Sharon.
I'd be very happy actually, because it's it is excessive. We've got loads of molehills, and I think it's worse this year than it has been in previous years. So maybe they are breeding like rabbits. So they are, yeah, there's lots of moles. And I don't know what damage they do to the ground underneath, you know. So it is worrying because that whole area is not very smooth ground, and it's just, yeah.
It's mud, yeah. Yeah, I mean, from a point of view of sort of the dangers, it's potential damage to lawnmower, but it's also potential damage to people who might be walking past when some stones are flung by the mower if they happen to be too close or if John hasn't seen them. So there is a health and safety issue potentially, but there's also going to be potentially an environmental issue. So Heather.
Earlier on in the year, there were a whole load of molehills on the other side of the road to your house, Graham, but they seem to have disappeared now. Do moles just move, or?
They do, yes. Apparently there's a time when they do sort of come up, scutter across the grass and then dig down again. But it was more like outside Peter's house, wasn't it? Sort of towards the end of the green, I seem to remember. But yeah, I think the problem is that where they currently are, they've been driven over a few times, so the soil is not fluffy. It's actually quite compacted. But I mean, it's really a question of whether we're going to get any abuse for shortening the mole population. I don't know how we feel about that. I mean, we're not obviously going to decimate them, but there will be a cost, and there will be potential backlash, perhaps. Well, backlash is a strong word. Okay.
I don't know enough about it.
No. Okay.
I think you've got to keep them under control.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's suggest that we do go for the services of a mole catcher, and respond accordingly if it's not particularly popular with our residents. Now we've got there's 3 quotes given to us. A rather strange £80, as in here's £80, but I'll quote when I come and see you.
No, sorry, that was the £80 was after his site visit. I just hadn't taken off the notes.
I see. Okay, sorry. Oh, you see, there's a general. Okay, so we've got from £80 up to 220. Now, I don't know what anyone feels best. I'm tempted to go for the cheaper one and see how well he does.
Does everybody do a 5-day guarantee, or is it just the middle one?
It's only the middle one.
That's very attractive.
Is it? I don't know. Five days is not very long. I don't quite know.
They are all trap and release. Apparently, you can't put poison down for moles. You can gas them, but the regulations required to operate the gas make it not cost effective. So they all do trap and release.
Oh well, let's just
where do they release them?
For the cheapest one.
Say, where do they release them? Can we nominate a garden or two?
On the green.
Somewhere else. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine then. So, can I suggest then that we go for the services of the cheap? But I think we basically got the one with the 5-day guarantee or the cheaper one.
I like the 5-day guarantee, because if he hasn't caught them all, then he'll have to come back.
Others? Anybody
Just
else?
remind me of the cost of that one. I haven't got it up in front of me.
145.
Yeah. 80, 145 or 220.
I personally think we should just go for the £80 one and see how it goes, because if he's, if he's doing the job, surely he'll ensure that he's caught, and trapped however many moles there are. So
I thought a lot of them actually did price on the basis they do catch a mole, and they charge per mole they catch, I thought. But
Some of them do, but none of the ones that cover this area. Some of the ones I found in Essex do a price per mole.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
Yeah, how do you know the mole was caught in your land? Look how many I caught. Yes. Okay, well, there's 2 proposals there. Help me out. I'm tempted with the £80 because it's cheapest, but I don't know. We obviously
has anybody had any experience of any of these people?
No, but I will just say that I've used the mole trap twice and had success twice, so I don't think it's that difficult.
you didn't fancy giving it a go in the green then?
No. No,
I mean, even if we went for the £80 one and then we had to have him back in, I don't know, 2 months, then that's still only £160. So, we could actually get to site visits for the,
But
for
it's the same
sort of
price.
the price of the second one.
But my
Um,
point is, Sharon, that if there's moles there after the 5 days, the second one will come back anyway.
No, only within the 5 days.
within 5 days.
Within 5 days. After on the 6th day and beyond, you pay again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the proposal is that we,
Yeah, I'd think I'd go with the cheaper one on the basis that if you do need them back, it's not a lot more than the other guarantee one, isn't it? I would be interested to know where they release them, or do they release them in the bin with a broken neck?
But I've used GB pest control, and we have no moles. They're just gone. So
do you want to know where they are?
it's on the green.
The proposal from Sharon is that we go for the services of the £80 contractor. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Yeah, okay, that's Sharon seconding. All in favour? A show of hands. Brilliant, 7. Okay, thank you very much. That's good. That will please Ian, because he was a bit concerned about them. And I don't quite know why he mentioned the other bit, but we've got an issue with badgers.
Yeah.
Just for information, really.
Okay, so he believes that the scratching up the top by the wilderness close to the field is badger damage. So that's quite interesting.
Can you do anything about that?
There's nothing to do, apparently. Later in the year, there'll be other sources of food, and they'll stop doing it.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Right, to receive an update regarding the horse riding across the green and decide upon any next steps. Now, you've received a wealth of information on this one. I don't know whether or what the latest situation is. The horses are still kept in the same field, as far as I know.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, sorry, they've moved from opposite Hilton Hall, and they're now down by
opposite the drift.
Yes, they're opposite.
Yeah, that's right. I saw the car there this morning and questioned whether they'd moved.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So they have.
Yeah.
So, sorry. There was a Facebook post on the 27th of March from somebody called Sheila Kersley, who said that her horses were no longer kept in Hilton.
Yeah, she was making a point. It's not her.
It's not her, and I'm friends with Sheila, so I'm reassured it is not her. Okay. But she's well known for keeping her horses in the village, so she was being blamed for this.
Right.
And it's categorically not her.
Okay. But the people who are riding across the green still are in the village? They
don't actually live in the village.
But their horses are now kept in the field where Sheila used to keep hers.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's I mean, there's a lot of paperwork, and I'm not. It's a question of what the next stage is. Obviously, there's potential for spending money, or whether we continue to pursue other sources. I mean, it'd be quite nice if parishioners and everybody else tackled these people to point out that they don't have permission to ride anywhere other than on bridle paths.
Has it got any better since they moved to near the drift? I wondered if that was done consciously so they could use the drift as a bridle path.
I don't know, but I would say tonight that I did see them walking on the road, but then they took a shortcut over the grass where the moles are, presumably to end up in Church Lane. What they did in Church Lane. That
is a bridleway across there where the moles are. Yes,
okay.
It is.
Is it? There you go then. What, but that's not actually defined, is it? I mean, it's presumably anywhere.
Yeah, so the bridleway is from Church End to Church Lane.
Well, actually, there's two. There's two on that bit of ground.
Fine. Well, good job I didn't tackle on that, wasn't it?
There's one that goes round on the church wall, and there's one that cuts across parallel with Sparrow Way.
Okay, but neither is particularly clearly defined, is it?
No.
But in terms of a map, so that was fine. So maybe things have improved. Maybe things have improved.
I did with the letter. I did give them a map on which I'd highlighted the bridleways, and that was when I highlighted for them.
Thank you very much for that.
So I gave them, if you go up to the drift, I mean, as a horse rider myself, if you go up the drift and you carry on, there's some fantastic rides up there. Like, why on earth are you over the green when you could be out there? And you're away from roads. It's perfectly safe. Yeah, the mind boggles, really.
Yeah, there were hoof marks in Tide Lane today. Okay, so I mean,
again, Tide Lane's a boat, so you are allowed
Indeed. Oh yes, I was happy to see them. Yeah, that's fine. Anybody got any thoughts? Watching brief, done as much as we can. We've got the signs out. I think we've made our points to these people, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so the proposal is that we do nothing other than thank Nicola for what she's done so far. Peter.
That's what. Sorry, I was just going to say. Good sign, good signs, good letters. Thank you.
Yeah, and also interaction with the people. So I think we've done a reasonable job as far as we could. So yeah, thank you. Okay.
Can I just ask, is this just one owner that's the problem?
We don't really know.
You don't really know.
It's 3 horses, and I've seen different people riding each. So, yeah. Well, short of tailing people to find out where they live, I think that's.
There's always a few different cars parked up there, isn't there? So
there
I think Nicola, you suggested it's a syndicate potentially.
Would be a horse share, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the proposal is that we do nothing further at this stage. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Yeah, Heather, thank you much. All in favour? Show of hands. Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's good. Okay. Right. Discuss and decide whether to respond to the Oxford, boat race, Oxford to Cambridge Railway consultation. Now, you would have seen the various prospective routes across the county. The furthest north provides a Camborne North station. The other one gives a Camborne South station. So Camborne North is the nearest it comes to us. Question is, do we do anything, or do we sit tight? So we're going to get more cars. Is it going to be beneficial to us to have a station that's nearer to us? That's the question. Peter?
The only thought I had about this was that we should, as Hilton, perhaps make a similar presentation or representations to them about construction traffic. So on the A428, we are making points about trying to keep construction traffic out of coming from the north down. And surely that would be the same for a new rail link going through, because they'll need gravel and such things for the railway track.
They need a lot of gravel, won't they?
So that was the thought I had, that actually with regards to encouraging a rail route, brilliant. Yeah. Okay. But
so I mean, is anyone else got any thoughts whether we just put in a statement there about the sorry, Heather?
Would there be an impact once the railway has opened of people travelling through Hilton to access the railway at Camborne, the station, to go into Cambridge?
Hard to say. Hard to say.
I mean, the thing is, be a bit careful about that.
Yeah, I would suggest that if you're doing that, you would just as well drive into the park and ride on the 428. I'm not sure it would make much difference, but you don't know what people are going to do you? What route they're going to take.
You would, of course, go to St Ives and go on the guided bus, wouldn't you?
You could do, yeah. So, Sharon.
I think at the moment people commute through Hilton to go to St Neots station, so I can't imagine it would from here. I can't imagine it would increase the traffic, because most of the traffic is going like to the park and ride, or they're going to the St Neots station anyway, aren't they? I don't know. I suppose it's difficult to. Well, it's probably something we'll never be able to quantify.
No, because, yeah, I mean, presumably we're talking many years hence, aren't we? It's hard to know whether it's to do with the railway or just a natural progression.
I think if anything, it might reduce traffic because people won't use Hilton as a rat run to avoid trying to get on to the 428 at the Caxton Gibbet and get, you can go through Ellsworth or go through Hilton to join the A1307, can't you? So,
yeah.
So you never know, it might actually decrease the traffic, but it was certainly, there's lots of commuters from Camborne who just get straight on the 428, aren't there?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It will really help them.
Yes, potentially, exactly. I mean, apart from Peter's suggestion that we comment on the construction, does anyone else wish to sort of say a for or against, or just
I'm for it. I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Anybody else?
Just a
Peter?
point, Graham. The proposal is that trains will be running on that line between Oxford and Cambridge by the end of the decade in terms of timescale.
Okay, so 9 years time. Yeah. So after the 4 to 8.
Mm.
Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, there's two. Okay, so there's the proposal really is that we respond by saying that we want to make sure that the construction traffic doesn't come through Hilton. And I will further say that Hilton's in favour of the train link from Oxford to Cambridge. So taking.
Can we just vote on the second bit?
Yeah, we'll take the first one as the obviously the construction. I can't imagine will be controversial. So I propose that we comment about no construction vehicles. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Yeah. Oh, X. Well done. Yeah. All in favour of construction vehicles not coming to the village? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fine. Thank you very much. There's then the second one about whether the council votes in favour of the line or against it or just abstains. The comments we've had so far are in favour of it. Can I have a seconder for that, please?
No, can I just explain why I'm objecting? I think lots of small villages like the Eversons are going to be very adversely affected by this construction, and that they need to really think very carefully about the route. So at the moment, in its current proposal, I think I'm voting in solidarity with these other villages of a similar size to Hilton to object against it.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone else wish to say anything before we take a vote on that? No? Okay. So the proposal that we had from Sharon and Annette is that they are suggesting it's that Hilton should be in favour of the development of the train line. If that's a proposal, sorry, Sharon, you have to propose that because I should be abstaining. I think I don't know enough about it. So, Sharon, are you happy to be in favour of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to propose.
Happy to second.
You're seconding.
I'll second.
All those in favour, or that Hilton's in favour of the motion? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Rob, is your hand up or you're 4? Okay, it's 4. Against? Anybody against? No, it's okay. Heather's against. And abstentions? Me, I'm afraid, because I don't know enough about it, but that's okay. So that's 4, 1, 2, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's good. Okay. Right, so moving on. This is to agree to purchase wood for the repair of the fences. Now, there's been some prices have been gleaned, or there's a quotation for various bits of wood to mend 2 and a bit fences. There's 2 fences that one needs to be put in and one needs to be repaired, and there's various loose posts. Now, it's quite expensive because it's oak. Previously, we've had softwood and it doesn't last very long. The oak posts and oak fences that we've got do seem to last quite a long time. So that's the reason for the expense of £365. And what I've asked of Nicola is that is really a year's worth of, it will probably take me a year to put those in. So that's, you know, we've been, rather than buying a whole load that would do all the fences, that's effectively a year's worth of timber for new fences. Does anyone want to comment or say anything?
Just a comment.
Yep.
Just one comment. Someone told me the other day that tulip wood is about the same hardness as oak, very similar, not quite as attractive grain pattern. It might be a lower cost option if we want to think about it. Just a thought.
Okay. Kieran, I'm going to bring you in as a wood expert.
Yeah, well, it depends. There's different types of oak. There's Romanian, there's French, there's British. There's a massive difference in price. So tulip wood tends to come from more or less one place. So it depends what you're comparing what with what. So looking at the prices you've got there, that's not particularly high grade oak. So that'll be probably perfect for fencing.
I mean, my general thought was that it would be like a consistent type of wood for all the fences throughout the village. That's where the sizes came from and the fact is oak. But I mean, I'm happy to reduce it to see how it goes or store.
Can I just ask a question? You've got 15 posts and 16 rails.
Yep.
do you not need more rails between the posts?
No, because a lot of those posts are for wobbly ones around. There's, for instance, near you, Brand's pit there, that has got 3 loose posts, but the rails are okay.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Just going back to tulip wood, the other thing is the colour. It's a sort of a pale yellow colour.
Ooh.
I don't know what happens. It probably silvers up like oak does, but who knows.
I don't know much about it. It was just something that someone mentioned to me yesterday. It reminded me when you were talking about woods. I don't have a problem with oak.
Very nice for worktops.
No. Heather.
Can I ask that the pavilion one is done first when you do it, please? Only because there's water nearby and there's quite a drop and it's quite dangerous for little children.
Just, yeah, okay. So anyone else wish to add any comment? Okay, so the proposal is then that we go ahead and get the oak timber at a cost of £365. Second.
Yeah, I'll second.
Heather seconding. That's right. Yes, Heather.
No.
Sharon seconding. All in favour? Show of hands.
So just one other question. Sorry, but do you not need to get 3 quotes for this timber?
Well, we have kind of, sorry, Nicola.
In your supporting documents is my spreadsheet where I've tried to get quotes from elsewhere.
My apologies.
It's not been easy. You'll find that some of the stuff that's been quoted is various odd sizes that people, that people do. So it's just that what we've got is what's readily available from UK Timber. So
okay,
we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Okay. So the Sharon was seconding. All in favour, please again. Is it unanimous? It is. Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll see when that arrives. Okay. Right. Brace yourself, Graham. Discuss and decide whether to purchase additional litter pickers and agree the process for lending them to parishioners. Now we can get these. We've already got 4. One is still resident at the Clerk's house. Obviously, we don't want to give one to every parishioner in the village. It's a question of how many we think is a reasonable number, or whether 4 is a reasonable number. Discuss. Heather.
So my suggestion would be to put a request out to parishioners to say how many people would like to litter pick, to find out how many volunteers you've got. If it's less than 10, buy them 1 each. And if it's more than 10, ask them to share a litter picker.
Or wear gloves and just pick it up.
Yeah, well, yes. Okay, that's a suggestion. Now we've already got 4, so effectively we're thinking of buying 6 more. Peter.
The 4 cost £16, was that right?
£14.
Cost £14, including that.
£11.75 plus VAT.
£11.75 plus VAT for 4. Just buy 6 more. Just do it.
They were packs of 4.
The packs of 4. So I would
Buy
suggest
4 more then.
that we buy 8, and then we could even lend them to Feastwick. Well, I expect Feastwick probably got their own, haven't they?
Feastwick have their own, yes.
For £11, just.
Yeah. Okay. So the suggestion is that we buy 2 more packs. That's a total of 8 more, and then we can the same sort of thing as Heather suggested, that we could let ask parishioners, and we got some. But I would suggest that these are on a loan basis, and that maybe every year, if it's not too much, Nicola, you could just sort of write back and say, are you still using your litter picker?
I think
Sorry, Sharon?
there just needs to be like a little sign on the notice board saying, you know, there are litter pickers available. If anybody wants to volunteer, please contact the parish clerk at 10 Church End, you know, so that, you know, if people are walking around the village and they want to litter pick, then they can just.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And we'll see.
So the litter pickers are going out to then remain with that parishioner and just check each year that they are still using it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
If you have more than 10 people, maybe they can buddy up with somebody else and share a litter picker.
Yeah, I think the size of the village, I think 12 litter pickers is quite a lot. I don't think 8's enough, but 12, you might break someone over. So I think the proposal, well, let's take it a step at a time. The proposal is that we buy 8 more lid spickers at a cost of 28 quid. Can I have a seconder, please, for that? Oh, seconding. All in favour? Show of hands. Rob, yeah, fine, that's unanimous. And then the question is how we dish them out to parishioners, give them, and then I would suggest that we give them to those that would like them. And every year we send a little email out saying, are you still using it? Would you like to return it or would you like to keep it? Is that adequate?
Unless there's unprecedented demand.
You can buy another one. I think 12 is more than enough for this. Be nice that this didn't get dropped in the first place, but you can't help.
I don't know if there's enough litter to pick, actually.
Oh, have a little trip down Gravely Way and everywhere else. The village is good, I must admit. The village is very good. It's just as you go further out. So the proposal is that we do send a reminder every year. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Yep, Heather seconding. All in favour? Good show of hands. Brilliant. Thank you much. Good. Okay. Right. Next one's easy. To receive feedback regarding the annual parish meeting. Now, this is a requirement that after the annual parish meeting, the parish council discusses the requests and suggestions from the parish meeting and can decide which bits they'll take on board and whatever. We only got the one question. We did get positive feedback on the state of the financial reports. So really, there's nothing to report from the annual parish meeting. So it's just to say thank you all to whoever did whatever. It was a good meeting and no negative feedback. So that's, I think, sort of covers the item. Oh, Heather?
Graham, I remember you saying at the end of it that it had been a very good meeting, you'd enjoyed it and you'd learnt something as well. And I was intrigued to know what made it different this year and why it was so successful.
Blimey, put me on the spot, why don't you? I don't know, really. Well, I think there were a lot more reports from people. There were more reports from people. Maybe the Zoom format meant that people were closer together in terms of faces. It was easier to show. I think one of the other things was it was easier to show reports, because previously we've had the reports are sent round in paper form, and then you've got to try and follow what people are talking about. But with it being presented on the screen, it was quite easy to see where we were going. And I said the other thing was that the parishioners were happy because we didn't get many negative comments. So I think it was also quite short, wasn't it? So I think that's always a good sign that people are happy if it's short. So yeah, good. Okay. How about other people? Were they? It was a good meeting, I think. Yep, Peter. Oh,
I thought it was very good. I thought it suited the Zoom format quite well. Really. And nothing against meeting in the parish, in the village hall, to have it, but it just seemed to flow well, didn't it?
It did. I mean, in previous years we have actually had a guest speaker, which is quite nice.
We've had representatives from the police and from Highways England in the past.
We have.
Poor old people from Highways just got slated, didn't they? Completely and utterly.
Yes.
It was, and it would have been nice if our district councillor had been able to attend, but we
learned a lot about what he does, so that was good.
Yeah, and we learned a lot about the WI, I thought.
That's true. We haven't had a WI report before, have we? So that was good to know what they get up to during COVID, certainly, or what they've been getting up to. Okay, so with that in mind, I don't need to have that proposed, do I, Nicola? No, fine, good. So the next item is, we will need a proposal. This is to agree a purchase of a minute book. Now, up until we looked at the rules a bit more carefully, we've just been putting the annual parish meeting minutes in with the main parish council book. Apparently that's not allowed. So we now have to have a separate minute book for the annual parish meetings. So we have to have that book. It's a question of how much you spend on it. Nicola's got 3 quotes there. The cost of £81 is effectively the same, is the same book as we use for our parish council minutes, and therefore we would use the same paper. So it's not really a question of do we need the minute book? We do. It's a question of are we happy to spend the £81 or go to a more expensive one? So I'm going to propose that we go for the £81 minute book. Can I have a seconder for that, please? No? Yes? Oh, yeah. Heather seconding. All in favour? Little show of hands. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, this one's from Sharon. Discuss and decide whether to agree to the siting of the replacement WI bench near the maze as per the previous plan and agreement by the PC. Sharon.
Yeah, this has just been on hold really because of the pandemic. So obviously the Parish Council agreed to buy the 2 picnic benches and and site the other benches, but at the time the WI bench was removed because it was deemed unsafe. So and the WI have wanted that would like that bench replaced because it's a memorial bench and it has a little plaque on it. So we did discuss this in a previous meeting, but that was sort of probably 18 months ago now. So and because we're coming into the spring and there obviously a lot of people are meeting now outdoors. I mean, the picnic benches are really well used, and there's, you know, there are people on the green sort of every day now, which is wonderful. So it's at no cost to the Parish Council because the Hilton Town Trust have agreed to purchase this, which they still have the money set aside. I've emailed the committee, and they're happy for me to go ahead and place the order, and they will fund this bench. And the WI feel they would like the bench replaced as well. And then it's going to have another little plaque on it, or the WI are happy for the plaque to have added replaced in 2021 by Hilton Town Trust. As sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you finished.
Sorry.
Can I ask you, can you confirm it's going back in the same position as the old one?
Yes, yeah, the WI would like it in the original position because it was in memory of, I've forgotten who it is now. It's on the old bench, which is in the pavilion, and I need to take that old you know, the plaque off the old bench to put to the WI will fund having a new plaque made with the addition of the wording replaced kindly by the town trust, or to be, you know, wording to that effect. And I you know, I think it was always well used there, wasn't it, you know, on the green, and particularly at Feast Week and other village events.
The only it mentions a type of bench. Is it going to be that, because it's that bench seemed to be available in a 2, 3 or 4 now? I think previously it was a 3-seater. I wouldn't want it to go as big as a 4, but there's not a lot of detail about the bench, is that?
It'll be the same as though the benches at the back of, so it won't be curved, they're slightly curved, but it'll be, I think the name of the bench is Kensington, but it will be the same version of, so from the same company,
Right.
the Garden Furniture Centre, I think it's called, and it'll be I think it was 1.8 or 2 meters long. I can't remember the spec, but it'll be the same teak and the same style as those curved benches, but a straight bench.
Because I went onto that website and I couldn't find any teak benches, but I might have been wrong. I'm just slightly concerned, not concerned. I'm aware that we need to know the style of the bench that's going in. That's all. Make sure it isn't too, what's the word, loud, ornate.
So I'm just looking at it now, Graham. Kensington bench, 1.8 meters, teak. It's it's in the same style of the curved benches. It's just straight.
Yeah.
Okay. So as the Greens monitor, are you okay with that in terms of its style?
Yeah.
That's right. It was exactly the same, but a straight bench, Kensington.
Okay. So
Share the image of it.
go on then. Just to make full advantage of the Zoom format before we ban from using it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good Lord, it's a bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Right. Okay, so that's a Sharon, do you want to propose that?
Yeah. Can I propose that we recite the a new bench in replacement of the old WI bench in the original position it was. And well, I should say Darren's quite happy to cite it and secure it as before, as with the other benches as well.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's a proposal. There's a seconder for that one. Pete reluctantly. Okay, thank you. Peter was first. All in favour? Show of hands. Thanks so much. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Great, good. Okay, moving on. Right, to receive an update regarding the Living Sport Grant application. This will be Heather.
Yep.
Yeah.
So back in February, we agreed that we'd submit an application. In your supporting documents, you've got a suggested list of equipment that has been submitted. The Living Sport people are meeting on the 21st of this month to make a decision. We've had an email to say that it suits their criteria. So we wait to hear what happens after the 21st of April. But Nicola and I thought it would be a good idea to share the plans with you all tonight.
Okay, so that's fine. Thank you. Received update. Do I need to propose that we receive it, or what do you think, Nicola? I've got you.
Why not?
Okay, Heather, do you wish to propose the that we are receiving it?
Yes.
Okay.
As you said.
Okay, seconder for that, please. Peter seconding. All in favour of receiving it? Show of hands. Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's good. Okay. I haven't forgotten you, Andy. Payments received. We've had, despite the fact the map has gone on the website, people prefer the hard copy. So we've now sold 4 more maps. We've only got 1 left. The price has gone up for that one, by the way. It's rather like EasyJet seats. The less you are, the less you've got, the more expensive they're. So 4 maps have been sold for a cost of £20. That's good to know. Okay. Now, bearing in mind what we heard at the beginning of the meeting, can I propose that we bring any other business up so that the parishioners can hear what's there before we go into a closed session? I think this is probably a good time to do that. Is that favourable? Bearing in mind this will be, I won't take an A or B at the end of the staffing issues. So that's proposal, we bring it forward. Can I have a second of that, please? Yeah, Heather's seconding it. Okay, all in favour? Show of hands. Brilliant. Okay, so with that in mind, we haven't finished the meeting, but council's items, information only, no discussion, no decision can be made, local So that's item 230.
Actually approved the payments to be made.
Sorry?
We've done 223 payments to make.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was putting it there because I mean there's the payments are a bit dull, aren't they? So I just thought it was a good time to bring it in there. But yeah, I will go to payments. So council items. Let's go around. Peter. No. Okay. Et.
No.
No. Heather. Yeah. Sharon.
Yes, sorry. Sue Clark, the chair of the WI, her husband has volunteered to replace sort of upkeep the bench along Westbrook, as apparently the bench at Westbrook is in need of a rub down and a re-oil or something. So it's Sue Clark's husband has offered to do that. So I just said I would bring it to the council.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. That's good. Good. Okay. Rob. No. Kieran. No, me? No. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. So going back to payments now, this is to approve the payments. You've seen the long list there. Peter and I have just been going through a year's worth of invoices, signing off all these invoices. So that's one reason why it's nice to get meetings back to face to save having a year's worth of invoices. So there's nothing different in there as far as I can see. Oh, apart from Thames Labs, this was the asbestos training testing. Nothing else. And there's 2 tree works. I've checked with Ian. He's happy that the tree works have been done successfully. There's 1 more tree work to be done, but that's the payments to be approved. I'm going to propose that we do pay those. Can I have a seconder for those, please? Yeah, Rob, thank you very much. All in favour? A show of hands. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, now I think this is the point where we need to go into. Yeah, I think we're going to. Is this right? We're going to private. I'm going to propose that we go into closed session to discuss the sensitive nature of Nicola's work ethics. Can I have a seconder for that, please? That we're going to close session and say goodbye to our parishioner. Okay, Sharon is seconding. All in favour? Fine. Okay. Thanks for joining us, Andy, and see you May 4th.
Thank you. Bye bye.